In this tutorial, we will create these animated reactions and trigger the animation using tap and hold gesture in SwiftUI. So by using 3D touch or by tapping and holding the message bubble you see over here, the reactions will be displayed using bounce animation. So let's get started. My name is Amos, an interaction design advocate from Stream. We will create this animation and the interaction in 4 different steps. 1. We will add initial and the final animation states. In the second step, we will add gestural interaction to trigger the animation. In the third step, I'll show you how to add animatable properties. And in the last step, we will be animating the properties. So let's go to Xcode and begin creating the animation. So what we have in this project is an inbound message bubble, which has reactions on top. And the reaction bar has 5 different icons. We are going to use spring animation and tap and hold gesture to reveal each of the icons. To animate anything in SwiftUI, we need states. The states are used to set the initial and the final animation states. We define states over here. I have all the states we need for this animation copied to my clipboard. So I'm going to paste them here and explain what each one of them will do. The first state is show reactions BG. We are going to use it to show and hide the background of the reactions. The next one will be used to animate the heart icon. We also have the next, which is show thumbs up. We are going to use this to animate the thumbs up icon. The next one is the thumbs down icon. So we are going to use this state. And you can see each one of them is set to 0. That is the initial state. So when we have the initial state set to 0, we don't see the view at all. The sixth one will be used to animate the lol icon. And the last one will be used to animate the wood reaction. You can also see over here, the thumbs up icon has 2 states. The top one, show thumbs up, will be used to show the icon. And the second one, rotate thumb, will be used to rotate the icon. So we have now defined and set the initial states of all the states we will need for this animation. The next thing to do is to use the states to set the final states of the animation. We want to trigger this animation using a tap and hold gesture. So let's move to where all the views are located. That is the second step. You can see over here we have a parent container, which is a horizontal parent container. And that holds all these views, the user avatar and the message bubble. So we are going to attach a long press gesture to all the views, that is the user avatar and the message bubble. So let's attach the long press gesture over here. We will begin animating the background of the reactions, that is the rounded rectangle. In the body of the long press gesture, what we have to do is to bring all the states we created. So let's copy the state that will be used to animate the rectangle. We have this state, so I'm going to select and copy. Then we go to where we have the long press gesture and paste it. We are going to use this state to set the final state. You can see over here, the initial state is set to 0. So in that state, we will have the background hidden. And in the final state, we want to show the background. So I'm going to bring an equal sign and set it to 1. What we have to do next is to use the state to animate the property we want to animate. So let's go to where we have the background, that is the rounded rectangle. This is the background of the reactions. So we are going to attach the property we want to animate over here. that is the scale effect. We are going to use the state to animate the scale of the rectangle. So I'm going to add the scale effect modifier. We can animate only the x coordinate or the y coordinate, but in this animation, we're going to animate both. So what we are going to do is to bring the state, and the state we are going to use is show reactions BG. You can see we get an error. So what we have to do is to convert the value to CG float. And now you can see the error has disappeared. So you can see the background has now disappeared. So by tapping and holding the message bubble, that shows the background, but it has no animation. In order to see the animation, we have to add the animation modifier. So that is the fourth step. Over here, I'm going to add the animation modifier. The first parameter of the animation modifier is the easing function. Let's use spring animation. So I'm going to put a period. And what we are going to do is to use an interpolating spring. Let's select the one that has stiffness and damping. The stiffness parameter is the tension in the spring. By default, we are going to set it to 170. And damping is defined as the frictional force that affects the animation. If the damping value is small, we get large bounciness, and if damping is large, we reduce the bounciness of the animation. Let's set this to 5, for example. For the value parameter, we are going to use the state. So I'm going to copy the state we added for the scale effect. Then I will paste it here. So this is all we need to create the animation. So now, when we tap and hold the message bubble, you can see the background rectangle scales from the center and displays. But we don't want the background to scale from the center, and we also want to reduce the bounciness. As I said before, if we have a larger value for the damping, we reduce the bounciness. So I'm going to change this to 15. If I preview again, the rectangle scales from the center, but that is not what we want. We want it to scale from the top right. To do that, we have to change the center of gravity, which is known as anchor point. The anchor point of a view is defined as a location of the view at which transformations such as scale or rotation occurs. For this animation, let's move it from the center to the top right. So in the scale effect modifier, I'm going to add the anchor. And the value we want to use here is stop trailing. So let's preview the animation again by tapping and holding the message bubble. You can see the rectangle now scales from the top right instead of from the center. The last thing to do for the background rectangle animation is to add a delay. We want the animation to delay for a few seconds before it starts. So after the easing equation, let's add a delay. We want to add a delay of 0.05 and preview the animation again. So this is exactly what we want. So we can now move on to animate the icons themselves. Let's begin with the heart icon. You can see all the icons are contained in this parent container, which is a horizontal parent container. So this is the first icon, that is the heart icon, the thumbs up, thumbs down, and the other two icons. For the heart icon, we are going to use scale effect to create the animation. And over here, we have the initial state set to 0. So we are going to use this state I'm going to select it and copy. Then we go to where the animation is triggered. Over here, we are going to set the final animation state. In SwiftUI, we can create two kinds of animation, implicit and explicit. With implicit animation, we attach the animation modifier to the view itself, as we did over here. In this case, if we use state to change any of the properties attached to the view, all the properties are going to animate. But for the icons, this is not what we want. So we are going to use explicit animation. We don't want all the properties attached to the view to get animated. To create explicit animation, we are going to use with animation. So over here, let's bring with animation. In the body, what we have to bring is the state. So I'm going to paste it here. We're going to use it to set the final state. That is the final animation state of the heart icon. You can see here the initial state is set to 0. So in the final state, we are going to set it to 1. That is when the heart icon is visible. Next, we have to define the isn't function we want to use for this animation. We are going to use the same interpolating spring we used for the first animation, that is the animation of the rectangle. So let's move up and copy the interpolating spring. Then we come back over here and paste. We will leave the stiffness, that is the tension in the spring, as 170. But we are going to change the damping to 8. We also want this animation to delay for a few seconds before it starts. So here I'm going to add a delay and set the value to 0.1. What we have to do next is to use the state to animate the property that we want to animate for the heart icon. Let's move to where the heart icon is located. Over here, I have an image. That is this one. That is the heart icon. So here we are going to add the property we want to animate. That is the scale effect. We want to animate both the Y and X coordinates. So I'm going to paste the state. We still get an error, so we have to convert the value to CG float. And now you can see the error has disappeared. So this is all we need to create the animation of the heart icon. You can see over here it has now disappeared. That is because the initial state is set to 0. So we have scaled the icon to 0. So by tapping and holding the message bubble, we display the heart icon with this bounce animation. Let's move on to the second icon, that is the thumbs up icon. Since this animation is the same as the heart icon, we can copy the animation we just created and use it for the thumbs up icon. Then after, we will change the values. Let's begin from where the animation is triggered. Over here, we can copy the whole animation and we paste it here for the thumbs up icon. For the delay, we will change it from 0.1 to 2. We will leave the stiffness as it is and leave the damping value as 8. And we also need to change the state from show heart to show thumbs up. Next, we have to use the state to animate the property, that is the scale. So over here, we have the scale effect attached to the heart icon. So we can copy this property and we paste it here. Then we change it from show heart to show thumbs up. Let's preview again and tap and hold. So we show both icons at the same time, the heart icon and the thumbs up icon. We also want to rotate the thumbs up icon by using the state rotate thumb. So let's copy that and go to where the animation is triggered. Over here, we are going to set the angle of rotation to 0. And you can see the initial angle of rotation. Here we set it to -45. So when we tap and hold the message bubble, the thumbs up icon is going to rotate as well at an angle of 45. Let's add the property to animate the rotation. We are going to use rotation effect. So soon after the scale effect, we will add rotation effect. This is 2D rotation, so I'm going to select the first option, rotation effect. For the angle of rotation, we can use degrees or radians. For this animation, we are going to use degrees. So I'm going to put period and write degrees. We can use a fixed value, but we are interested in using the state to switch between 0 and -45. That is the initial rotation and the final rotation. So I'm going to put rotate thumb. We get an error, but by clicking here, we can fix the error. That converts the value to double. Let's preview again. So by tapping and holding the message bubble, the thumbs up icon also rotate as well. So this is how to create the two animations for the thumbs up icon. Let's go to the next, that is the thumbs down icon. This animation is also the same as the thumbs up icon, so we can copy the animation we just created. I'm going to select this one and press Command C to copy. Then over here, let's paste it. Let's change the first state to show thumbs down. We can use the same state that animates the rotation for the thumbs up icon to animate the rotation of the thumbs down icon. So I'm going to leave this state, that is rotate thumb, to be the same. Next, we are going to use the state show thumbs down to animate the scale effect, and this state to animate the rotation effect. This is just like what we did previously. So let's copy the modifiers we used for the thumbs up icon and use it over here for the thumbs down icon. And what we have to do is to change this from show thumbs up to show thumbs down. For the state rotate thumb, we leave it as it is and resume. If we tap and hold, we show the three icons. The animation of the thumbs up icon and the thumbs down icon happen at the same time, but we can delay the animation of the thumbs down icon. So let's go and change the delay. Since we have the delay for the thumbs up icon set to 0.2, we can change this to 0.3. And now, when we preview again, you can see the thumbs up icon happens earlier than the thumbs down icon. Let's move on to the fourth icon. We can reuse one of the animations we just created. So let's copy this one because that has only one animation. And then we paste it over here. For the delay, we are going to change it to 0.4 because this one has 0.3. For the state, we are going to change it to show lull reaction. What we have to do next is to go and animate the property we want to animate using the state. So let's copy one of the scale effect modifiers. I'm going to select this and copy. And then this is where we have the image. I'm going to paste it and change the state to this one. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. So you can see we have the lol icon also animated. So we can use the same technique to animate the last icon, which is the question mark and the exclamation. Let's copy one of the animations. I'm going to select this one we just created and press Command C to copy. Then over here, I'm going to paste it. What we are going to do is to change the delay from 0.4 to 0.5. Then for the state, we're going to change it to show with reaction. Next, we are going to use the state show with reaction to animate the scale effect. Let's move on and go to where we have the icon. That is this image. So I'm going to copy the scale effect here and paste it over here. All we need to do is to change the state to show with reaction. And that is it. So in this video, we looked at how to create these animated reactions by dividing the animation into 4 different steps. We looked at how to add animation states to set the initial and the final states of the animation. We looked at how to use a gesture to trigger animation, like the tap and hold. Next, we looked at how to add animatable properties. And finally, we looked at how to show implicit and explicit animations in SwiftUI in order to see the animation we have created. To learn more about SwiftUI animation and interaction design, you can subscribe to the Stream Developer channel on YouTube.